Did you know that during a recession, your hard-earned dollars can quietly lose 10%, 20%, or even more of their buying power without ever leaving your bank account? It's the silent betrayal most people never see coming. While headlines scream about stock market crashes, the real danger for many beginners lurks in unexpected places. Your savings, your job security, even your ability to borrow money can all take a hit, making everyday life suddenly much more expensive. Imagine needing to buy groceries and realizing your $100 budget now only gets you what $80 used to. This isn't just about market volatility. It's about the erosion of your financial stability from multiple angles. We're going to uncover exactly what triggers this silent theft and, more importantly, how you can stop it dead in its tracks, because the part most people get wrong is how quickly this erosion can happen if you're not prepared. Let's start with your cash. Many believe their bank account is the safest place during a recession, but that's only partially true. While your deposits are protected by the FDIC up to $250,000 per depositor per institution, the buying power of that cash is not. If inflation is high, as it often is leading into or during a recession, that $10,000 in your savings account might only buy you $9,000 worth of goods a year later. This isn't a bank failure. It's the invisible tax of inflation. For example, if inflation runs at 5% during a recession, your $10,000 effectively becomes $9,500 in real terms. You haven't lost a dollar numerically, but you've lost value. This quiet erosion can be particularly damaging to emergency funds if they are simply sitting in a low-interest savings account. So, while your money is technically safe, its effectiveness can be significantly compromised, which leads us to where most people incorrectly think their investments are safe. The stock market is where the most visible losses often occur. During a recession, corporate profits typically decline, leading investors to sell off stocks. This supply and demand imbalance drives prices down, sometimes dramatically. Consider the 2008 financial crisis. The S&P 500 dropped by over 50% from its peak. If you had $50,000 invested in a broad market index fund, you could have seen its value temporarily fall to $25,000 or less. It's crucial to remember that these are unrealized losses unless you sell. Panic selling is the biggest mistake here. Imagine someone who bought a stock for $100, saw it drop to $50 during the recession, panicked, and sold. They locked in a $50 loss. But someone who held on, or even bought more, likely saw their investment recover and grow over the subsequent years. The key is understanding that market dips are a normal, albeit painful, part of the investment cycle. But what about other investments people assume are safe? Real estate, often seen as a bedrock investment, also feels the sting of a recession. As unemployment rises and economic uncertainty grows, fewer people can afford to buy homes, and some may even be forced to sell. This reduced demand and increased supply can drive down home prices. During the 2008 recession, the median home price in the U.S. fell by roughly 20%. A house valued at $300,000 might have dropped to $240,000. For homeowners, this means a loss of equity, making it harder to sell or refinance. For landlords, rental income might stabilize, but property values could decline significantly, impacting their net worth. However, unlike stocks, real estate transactions are slow, and selling at the bottom can be avoided by those without urgent needs. The real challenge comes with debt, which behaves very differently during a downturn. Debt becomes a double-edged sword during a recession. On one hand, if you have variable rate debt like credit cards or some adjustable rate mortgages, your payments might decrease if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates to stimulate the economy. This happened after 2008 and during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. On the other hand, if you lose your job or face reduced income, even fixed-rate debt can become an unbearable burden. Missing payments can lead to damaged credit, foreclosures, or bankruptcies. For instance, a $500 monthly car payment is manageable with a $4,000 salary, but devastating with no income. The mistake most people make is not paying down high-interest debt before a recession hits, leaving them vulnerable to unexpected income shocks. This brings us to a crucial personal asset often overlooked: your job. Your job is arguably your most vital financial asset, and it's highly susceptible during a recession. Companies face declining sales and profits, leading to cost-cutting measures, often starting with layoffs. During the 2020 COVID-19 recession, U.S. unemployment briefly spiked to 14.7%. This means millions of people lost their primary source of income, immediately impacting their ability to pay bills, save, and invest. Even if you keep your job, you might face reduced hours, pay cuts, or frozen raises. Imagine a scenario where your employer cuts your hours from 40 to 30 per week, effectively reducing your $2,000 biweekly paycheck to $1,500. This 25% income reduction can quickly deplete savings. Building an emergency fund and having diversified skills are paramount here. But there's a specific type of investment that many mistakenly believe is recession-proof. A common myth is that gold is a guaranteed safe haven during a recession. While gold often performs well when confidence in traditional assets falters, it's not without its risks and volatility. Gold prices can fluctuate significantly. For example, after hitting a peak in 2011, gold prices declined for several years, even as economic uncertainty persisted. While it generally holds its value better than some stocks during a downturn, it doesn't offer consistent, guaranteed returns. Relying solely on gold for safety can mean missing out on recovery gains in other asset classes, and its price can be influenced by many factors beyond just economic fear. Its role is often as a diversifier, not a sole protector. So, if gold isn't the magic bullet, what concrete steps can you take to protect yourself? The single most important step you can take is building a robust emergency fund. This isn't just about having some cash. It's about having enough to cover 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. If your monthly expenses are $3,000, aim for $9,000 to $18,000 in a high-yield savings account or a money market fund. This fund acts as a financial airbag, providing a buffer if you lose your job or face an unexpected expense. Without it, a job loss means immediately dipping into investments or racking up high-interest credit card debt, which can be devastating. For example, if you lose your job and have no emergency fund, a $3,000 rent payment might force you to sell investments at a loss or take out a cash advance at 25% APR. This fund buys you time and prevents bad decisions, but that's just the start. Aggressively paying down high-interest debt before a recession is critical. Focus on credit cards, personal loans, and any other debt with interest rates above 7 to 8%. Imagine carrying a $5,000 credit card balance at 20% APR. If you lose your job, that payment becomes a huge burden, compounding rapidly. By eliminating this debt, you free up cash flow and reduce your monthly financial obligations, making you far more resilient to income shocks. Use the debt snowball or debt avalanche method to systematically tackle what you owe. The fewer fixed payments you have, the more flexible your budget becomes when times get tough. This proactive approach saves you thousands in interest and prevents a financial crisis from spiraling out of control when income is uncertain. But what about your investments? For your investments, a recession is not the time to panic, but rather to reassess and potentially rebalance. If you're a long-term investor, resist the urge to sell when the market drops. Instead, consider dollar-cost averaging, continuing to invest a fixed amount regularly, regardless of market fluctuations. When prices are low, your fixed contribution buys more shares, which can lead to significant gains when the market recovers. For example, if you consistently invest $200 a month into an S&P 500 index fund, and the fund drops from $100 per share to $70 per share, your $200 now buys you 2.85 shares instead of 2. This strategy smooths out your average purchase price and capitalizes on downturns. Also, ensure your portfolio is diversified across different asset classes, not just stocks, because there's one more crucial area often overlooked. Beyond financial assets, diversifying your skills is a powerful form of recession-proofing. If your current job is in a highly vulnerable industry, Consider learning new, in-demand skills that could make you more marketable in different sectors. Online courses, certifications, or even side hustles can build a safety net. For instance, if you work in hospitality, learning data analytics, or digital marketing could open doors to more stable tech-adjacent roles. This isn't just about finding a new job if you're laid off. It's about increasing your value and negotiating power in your current role or preparing for a pivot. The more versatile your skill set, the less reliant you are on a single employer or industry, and the more prepared you are for an uncertain economic climate, which is vital for long-term financial security. Here's the secret nobody tells you. While recessions are painful, they also present unparalleled opportunities for building long-term wealth. When assets like stocks and real estate are on sale, those with liquidity and a long-term perspective can acquire them at significantly reduced prices. The dot-com bubble burst, the 2008 financial crisis, and the 2020 pandemic all presented incredible buying opportunities for patient investors. Imagine buying a broad market index fund when it's down 30 to 40%. Over the next 5 to 10 years, as the economy recovers, those investments can generate massive returns. This isn't about timing the market. It's about being prepared to invest when everyone else is fearful. It takes courage, but history shows that the biggest fortunes are often made by those who buy during downturns. The key is distinguishing between a temporary dip and a permanent decline, but how do you know which is which? Ultimately, surviving a recession isn't about avoiding all losses, but about minimizing damage and positioning yourself for recovery. Build that emergency fund, crush high-interest debt, and continue investing strategically. Remember, market downturns are temporary, but smart financial habits are permanent. If you're now wondering how to actually start investing for the long term, even with limited funds, then check out our video on how to build your first investment portfolio with just $100. It breaks down the exact steps to get started without overwhelming you. Don't forget to subscribe for more essential personal finance strategies to help you navigate any economic landscape.